once again, it's week 4. It's game 4. I'm out on the campus of Rockvale, and I've got with me the head coach of the Rockets, Rick Rice. How you doing today, Coach?
Good, Stuart. Doing good.
Well, you're 3-0. First time. I mean, the school's only been here 3 years, and you're 3-0. So that's a good thing.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that is a good thing. We got the COVID win with Smyrna.
We'll count it.
Yeah, we'll count it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you got to take what you can get right now. I
that's
mean,
true.
come on, Coach.
So, but we're
You'd have liked to play that game, though.
I
You
would.
needed
I
that
told you last
game.
week. I told you last week it would have been a good test for us. See
Uh-huh.
where we stood, and I was really wanting to play. Coach
And you
Williams
needed
and
it, and Matt needed it.
Yeah.
He wanted it.
So, but it is good to be going into our first home game.
Yeah,
into Phoenix.
I'll be out
so,
here.
That's going to be a neat thing, and I think we'll have a huge crowd here, and the kids are looking forward to it. But yeah, it feels pretty good to get up yesterday morning with a win.
Take us through a little bit of the Siegel tape. You loaded up. You went over there and took your kids over there. You've already been over there before, but is that your first or second time over there?
That was our first time in varsity.
Is that the
we went
first
over
time?
in JV. Yeah, we went over in JV last year, before everything was shut down. So, but as far as varsity, actually, that's the first time I've been there. Man, God, nice. That's the first time as far as just the atmosphere on a Friday night. They're at Siegel, because 2 or 3 of my other coaches, used to coach there. And I said, man, this is pretty cool,
Absolutely.
And beautiful campus there. And their facilities is everything from a logistics standpoint, is pretty good, So
Well, it's kind of the design of what you see here.
Yeah.
That was one of the designs. That's where it kind of come out of. All that, everything kind of all in one complex with everybody together.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat to go play over there, and it was good to get our first region win in Rockvale history, Stuart. So that was big.
How did you feel like as far as the step you took? Here you are. You've only played really 2 games, but how much do you feel like you've come along since that? Going out, taking the field, and running through the tunnel on that first Friday night. How much do you feel like you've grown up?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think we have in some aspects. I want to grow up in a lot more ways than just football. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Stuart?
yeah,
And,
I know
like
what you
kids, for example, like just, and we don't have a big problem with it sometimes, but like, we practice early on Thursday morning at 6:30. We had a couple of kids late, and I hate that. It drives me nuts what it does. And but we've gotten better about just things, being there when we're supposed to be there, working very, very hard when they do get there. So I think we've grown up in some areas. There's a lot of areas we still need to improve tremendously. And but from a football standpoint, as far as just getting better from a football standpoint, maybe from a fundamental standpoint, and being able to take that and extend it to Friday night, I think we've gotten 100% better in a lot of ways. Yeah, no doubt about that. So, the other night defense, you couldn't ask for a better performance by our defense, and we played really well at Laverne too. We really did, and we had to make some stops of the night. Story. We come up with 2 huge turnovers, and we come up with a couple of 3-and-outs, kind of deep in our territory. So, that was really, really big, and our offense struggled a little bit. But we'll get that fixed. We got some good guys on that offensive side to get it fixed. So, but if you're going to win games, Stuart, like games the other night, you've got to play really, really good defense. And our special teams was lights out the other night. I'm telling you, it was lights out.
But you talked about that, Coach. You talked
It
about
was
that's
lights
one
out.
of the things you wanted to work on. When you first got, you said, I want to really work on my special teams. I think it's important. And so it came through on Friday night.
It did. And Coach Wise, Nick Wise, he kind of oversees all my special teams. And Coach Eberly helps him with that a little bit. And all the coaches got responsibility as far as special teams. But I think those guys have done a great job of, of really not letting them have the big play. In us creating a big play, you understand what I'm saying? So we create a big play
it just
on them
lets you down right there. I mean, the air goes out of the balloon real fast.
Let me give you an example. Our first game at Laverne 3 years ago, first game. All right, we're up 13-0. Okay, all right, we kick off. We're off sides. Okay, well, we had to kick off to them again 5 yards back, where the kid returns it 90 yards for a touchdown. Pretty much that was it, Stork. I mean, the momentum changed completely, and that's what special teams are. It's just a huge momentum changer. What it is. If you're not playing well on offense, you can get a turnover or something happen on special teams that could really put your offense in a situation to get the ball in the end zone. And so I was just really proud of the way we and the kids have bought into that. If there's one thing that I've actually bought into, it's been how important it is because we put so much emphasis on it this year. And I, my assistant coaches have done that, and Coach Wise has done a great job. And we're going to continue to work on it. We still got a lot of stuff we need to work on to get better, but we're going to continue to work on that.
Rewinding the tape, going back to the first part of your conversation and speaking about the things that don't pertain to football, yet they do. That is like being on time, being dressed and ready to go to work. Just those little things. You're not. It's not something that you're. How would you say, picking on kids? You're not just trying to.
Yeah.
It's not a military type law you're trying to lay down. What you're trying to do in the communication part of that, and it's hard for a child to understand, and is just the simple fact is, I don't really want you here at 9 o'clock. I really want you here about 8:30,
Yeah,
8:45. I want you to get into the flow and start talking to your players and start figuring out, hey, these are your buddies, and you need to get with them and start talking about the things you guys do and what makes you special so you can do the big thing on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about accountability. That's
Yeah.
the word. That's the word you always go back to, Stork. Is you got to be accountable, and the first thing that you got to do, you got to be here on time, and you got to be ready to go. And we talk about that to our kids, and we've gotten a lot better. It was at one point.
Well, they have to sacrifice and
Yeah,
be mature
and
and understand I got to put this away and go do this. This is important.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
now.
it is a sacrifice. That's the reason why you got extracurricular activities. It's not for everybody. It's like my daddy used to say. He said, "Heck, son, it's easy. Everybody do it, So it is a sacrifice. But if you make that choice to do it, you ought to be committed and you ought to be accountable. And so that's been somewhat of a struggle with these kids. But we've gotten a lot better in that area, Stork, and we're going to continue to get better in that area.
I think the biggest sacrifice, I guess, in me growing up, I ran cross country, and the late great Coach Don Lee was who coached a lot of baseball in the town I grew up in, but he was also our cross country coach. And a lot of great runners came out of the city I grew up in, but he had this deal where he'd load you up on the bus, and he would drive almost. I mean, it was 6, 7 miles, 8, 9 miles from the school to this farm. And you had this route you had to run. And he'd just say, all right, guys, you got to run the route. I'll be here. Now, if you're not back here at a certain time, guess what's going to happen? That bus is going to be leaving. And it's going to be bye-bye. And you're going to have to walk home or run home or get back to school.
Yeah.
It was a cruel way. But, the sacrifices you learn to make it, no matter what, to catch that bus, I mean, your heart been blowing out of your chest to get to him.
Yeah.
And, he was good to us, but you really learned accountability and commitment because those other runners were cheering you on as you was trying. They didn't want
Sure.
you to walk back. They
Yeah.
wanted you to become a part of the cross country, trilogy. And it was rough times. I mean, these kids don't understand. Back then, it's a little rougher, wasn't it,
Yeah, it
Coach?
sure
There was
was.
some,
It
there was
sure
some
was.
dudes that didn't.
Kids these days, they have no idea. they have no idea. And I used to, coaching, years ago, I used to be that coach.
Oh,
I used to
yeah.
be that
Coach
guy.
McDaniel talked about the other
Tell you,
night.
man.
He said, wide open, buddy.
Yes, sirree. And kids just don't want, they don't, sometimes they just don't get it sometimes, So talking about, like, I coached baseball at Wayne County years ago, and we go play a game over in Scotts Hill, Tennessee, and my two best players not there. We're going to leave at 4:30. They wasn't there at 4:30. I said, hey, let's go. I mean,
Oh, coach, better than that,
Yeah,
better
so
than
we just
that.
let them at home.
There was a coach by the name of Cecil Goff, sent a letter out to all the players, gave a time of when the bus would leave. His daddy was a teacher at the high school. This kid was a phenomenal player. Kenny Jacobs could dunk it any way he wanted to, cup dunk it, double hand dunk any way he wanted to, played on the team. They're leaving, going to Ohio County. Kenny's driving up, and the bus left at 5 o'clock, and Albert Bell was the bus driver. Coach Goff, you want me to wait on Kenny? No, I said the bus leaves at 5 o'clock. Close the doors and let's go. They're driving down the road trying to get up, waving at the bus, drove all the way to the game. You know what the coach said? You wasn't here to catch a bus, therefore you will not dress, therefore you will not participate. I mean, lessons like that, it's hard,
Yeah.
but Coach, we tell these stories, it's not because we want to tell a story or have a good one. It's a lesson that burns in that brain, doesn't it?
This is what I told one of my kids the other day. It's, he was a couple minutes late, and I just looked at him. I said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you get married and you have a baby and you got to get up and go to work and feed your family? I said, are you going to lay there? Are you going to lay there and not go to work?
Right.
Yeah, and not provide for them. I say that. I've said that more than once to kids. I said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So it's the same thing in football. I mean, be here on time, be accountable, and work hard, and then good things are going to happen to you. And I get all that from my daddy now. He's he was my best friend when I was even at age 56 when he passed away, he was still my best friend. And I miss my dad. So all the things that I try to teach these guys, I got from my dad, and my mom too, of course. So, but it's all about, it's all about doing right and doing things right on a continuous. Not do it right. Oh, I did it right. I can kind of slide right here.
Yeah.
It's about doing things right every time.
Mm-hmm.
About doing it every time, and if you don't do that,
then it becomes a habit, doesn't it?
It becomes a habit, and then you're going to struggle in life, Stuart.
You are.
You're just going to struggle. So, our thing here in Rockvale hadn't been the football aspect of it, even though we've got much better. Is all the other things, and I think we've made progress.
Well, you've got some great football ahead of you. I mean,
we do.
And you've got some challenges out there, as you very well know. And there's some, as we talked before the show, there's some opponents out there on the schedule lurking that are going to be it could be a quick Friday night, it could be a long Friday night, it'll be a very different Friday night, but all in all, get through those games. Just play the best you can, do the best you can. Don't worry about this kid's going here, or this kid's going there, that kid's that got them stars or all that. At the end of the day, they're 16, 17-year-old kids, and they'll have to perform too. I mean, they have to go out and they have to still maintain their star level if they're going to do that. And and sometimes they don't. They got to get the breaks. A lot of people don't understand too. In the game, there's going to be some breaks. Some people's going to get some calls. Something's going to happen. Football's going to squirt out, and somebody's going to get real lucky and possibly pick up 6 points. And you want to be there. You want to be in position. But when you talk about doing all those right things and stuff,
you create breaks.
You get yourself ready to get yourself in position to pick it up.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
And when you really focus and say to yourself, I'm going here, and I don't care what's in my way, it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah, it is. You work hard and you do those things and do the right things, and then, if there's such thing, if people say, well, you're lucky, okay, yeah, I'll take that. It's just because I've worked my butt off to get to the point where I could be lucky, and I tell people that. And so you're going to get a break if you on time, you come and work hard every day. The chances of you getting a break or something good happening to you in a ball game on a say a 3rd and 6 or 4th and 1, you got to hold them. You got to stop them. The chances of you doing that is probably going to be pretty good because you've already did the other things. It's a process getting to that point.
Well, and Coach McDaniel always talked about this. He talked about the courageous conversation with a parent, and some parent told him one time, said, wondered why his kid wasn't playing that much, and Coach McDaniel said, look, I spend 2.5 hours out here in the afternoon with them, and I get to watch them 6 hours in the school. And I got news for you. I know a little bit more about your kid than you do. Hey, let me tell you something.
Good.
I don't mean to be mean, but he's not as good as you think he is. Yeah. And if he do a couple of things, I might give him some rope. But right now, here's what I have problems with. And if he'd straighten them up, he might get a little more playing time, or I might give him a little rope. But I'm not willing to give him anything right now because he's causing toxic waste in my group.
Yeah, we got a couple of kids. I don't mind. I'm not gonna mention any names.
No, I mean it's just part of it.
There's a couple kids on our team, that we're kind of having to deal with that, and they're just not working hard enough to get playing time.
Yeah.
They think they should, and and kids this day and time, Stuart, you're talking about kids being so different, and they feel like they're so entitled at times.
Oh yeah.
And but anyway.
But nothing's free, Coach. There's not one thing out there that's free.
And we tell them that, Stuart. We tell our kids that. So. But we just gotta, teach them some life lessons and go on what you gotta do.
That's what some of this is about. You and I get to visit. let's talk about logistics Friday night. Got Lincoln County coming here, really good football team, and talk a little bit about the Falcons and everything. Of course, the most famous thing, as most people know, is if you were traveling to them, and you will be next year, you get to, of course, get to play in the pit.
I've never been inside that stadium.
Coldest football game I've ever been a part of was at the pit the night Sonny Gray played in 2007. I got married the next day. So that's the only reason why I remember it. But, Friday night at the pit.
When we scheduled that game, Coach Rose and I scheduled that game, that was the first thing that went through my mind. I said, oh, man, I get to coach at the pit.
Yeah.
So I was really wanting to schedule that game more so to go there and play them, and
then of course, the former coach, Louis Thompson, was on Bear Bryant's 65-66 team, was the MVP in the Nebraska football game in Alabama.
Great coach.
And was from Lebanon High School is what Coach Bear Bryant would say. He's a good old boy from Lebanon High School, from over Lebanon, Tennessee. But talk about them a little bit.
Well, I mean, they're kind of struggling right now, Stork, and I think, but they've got so much tradition there for them to come to our place. Like Rockville, we're just getting started, and we're having some success, early in the year, but. From a tradition standpoint, they're going to come over here. That's not a big deal for them. They're going to rely on that. And if they had an advantage on us, that would be it. Because they've been there and done it. And we haven't. So we're sitting in a situation we've never been in. We're 2-0, 3-0 right now. We've never been in that situation. And so it's going to be how our kids.
You're looking forward to seeing what happens.
I am. And the same thing over at Siegel the other night. I thought our kids handled things, pretty good.
The win and maybe the logistics, get back on the bus, how you act.
Yeah, and our kids handled that really well. I was really proud of our kids. And
Some people go berserk. I've seen them just jump off buildings. I mean, I ain't kidding you.
But but it's funny you said that. I told my guys the other day, it might have been Wednesday or Thursday. It was Thursday morning. And when we practiced, after practice, I said, just act like you've been there. I said, I know some of you probably haven't, I said, but just act, have respect enough to act like you've been there before. Okay?
Get back on the bus before you go berserk.
Or after you score a touchdown, pitch it to the, just act like you've been there, okay? And so I told them that on Thursday, and so I think we did a little bit of that.
And you got to practice that, I mean, if you ever watch any old video of Itavis, two things Itavis Mathers never did. He never popped off. You didn't see him jawing with anybody. He kept his mouth shut when he ran. But the other thing he did was every time he scored, he'd take that football and get handed right to the referee right after he scored. And he'd go and find him and hand it to him. He didn't,
He scored a lot of touchdowns too, didn't he?
Boy, he got to hand that ball to that ref a lot of times, Coach.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But anyway, but Lincoln County, they're going to pose a test for us, and it'll be, would be something, another first for us. We're 2-0, 3-0. It's our first home game. We got senior night as well, and we moved it up because of, in case COVID got us or whatever. So
smart decision. Just go ahead and knock it out.
Yeah, so we're gonna have some first Friday night and see how we handle it. We're looking forward to it.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people here, so you're urging people to get here early.
Yeah.
And we know Tom Prager probably won't be cooking on the grill. He's usually out covering other stories, but we'd love to have had Tom out here for this, because I really think this will be a very big game. A lot of people that are just wanting to see what your team looks like, and an opportunity to come out and also come out to Rockville. This is a new and growing area, so I think a lot of people want to.
You got that right. Let me say something before we get off.
Sure, go ahead.
We're going to have all the flooding happening in Waverly.
Okay.
We're going to have like a donation jar set up in various places here on.
And explain to the people why this is your people.
Yeah, this is my people. This is my home county, Humphreys County, and McEwen and Waverly. Waverly was affected more than my hometown, but it's the same county, and I had a lot of good friends from Waverly, and my niece. My niece about lost her life in this flood 2 weeks ago. Sure did, and lost her house, lost her car. So I'm just so thankful to have Lakin, and so. But what we're going to do, we're going to try to help the Waverly football team, and I went by their stadium last week, Stork, and it was worse than I ever thought it could have been. It's awful, and so we're going to set up a donation.
And there's
jar.
A bunch of people in the community pulling together. I mean, you're not the only one.
Yeah, and I know Coach Tygart doing that. That's some of their proceeds, went to Waverly.
So I think it was $2,300 they crushed it the other night.
And so I appreciate Coach Tygart doing that. But we're going to have donation jars for the Waverly football team and set up, and I really would like for people to give if they
bring
can.
some
So
paper, not the silver, but the paper.
Yeah, bring the $5 or $10 bills, and just help those people out and help those kids out, because until you've been there, and I've been through there 4 or 5 times after it happened, it's worse than I could ever imagine. And so, like somebody just set a bomb off what it is, it's that bad.
Coach, we're going to be off next week. I've got to go to Cary. I've got a sales presentation I got to do for the corporate office, so I've got to do my regular job. I've been working on it. I've been working on it continuously, because I got to get up and talk about the South area, tell people what I do and what I'm working on. And I tell you what, it's as you very well know, we're working on a little situation with you, but we hope to get that done, and it's going to be a big year next year for me, just doing what I do, and I'm looking forward to it. Well, Friday night, right out here at Rockville, Steve Luker is the principal. Don't ever forget that. The head coach is Rick Rice. Y'all gather up, be out here Friday night, watch the Rockville Rockets. That kickoff's at 7.